I'd like to officially welcome everybody to join today's OptimalPlus Executive Summit, the panel discussion. If I can kind of go down this row, ask Nico to introduce himself first.
I'm Nico Csizmadia. I'm Operations Manager for Qualcomm in Taiwan. I'm working for Qualcomm for 5 years, but I'm in Taiwan already since 1999. If I have to summarize what we are working on in my team is that we are responsible to make sure we get products out on time to our customers for good quality, for good cost. That's basically our major assignment.
Great, thank you, Nico. Thank you for joining our panel today. And next, I'd like to ask Jimmy to give us a quick introduction.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Chan. I work in Broadcom for the past 10 years, based in Singapore. Job role for me is to take care of tests and product transfer from the Irvine to the Asia operations. We started working with OptimalPlus with Dan and his team back in 2011 when we started to deploy OptimalPlus in all our supply chain. The takeaway for us is actually to improve our yield and efficiency across the Silicon itself, because formerly we do not have a standard data system, and with the presence of OptimalPlus, and it has given us much ROI in terms of the performance and yield in our OEE systems.
Thank you, Jimmy. Next, I'd like to invite Rick to give a quick introduction.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Rick Langford. I'm a Director for Product Engineering Operations for AMD. I've been in Taiwan for 11 years now. So my responsibility is for all of the product and test engineering operations for products and sustaining at AMD. I've been with AMD now for 3 years. Before that, I was with AT&T, recent 2 year MSI. Started my career in '85 back in Orlando, testing at 256 DRAMs, just to give you an idea how old I am.
Thank you, Rick. And last but not the least, Jim.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Low from NVIDIA. I have been with NVIDIA for 10 years. The first 6 years I spent at NVIDIA's Santa Clara campus, and the last 4 years in Taiwan. I'm the general manager of Taiwan Silicon operations, and we've been using OT almost 2 years, and so far we like it, the system. And of course, there's always a room for improvement. So probably we can talk about it a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for everyone's quick introduction. So with that, let me open our prepared question. They've been given those questions, so it shouldn't be too hard. I think first question is to every panelist. What were the collaboration opportunities that you guys have for your company to adopt OptimalPlus? So I will, it's not fair. I'm going to ask Nico first, since you sit closest to me.
So I think we already heard this morning from several people that the industry is extremely competitive, and products start to ramp up in such a short time to such high volumes that the old ways of looking at yield analysis, gathering data, trying to figure out what data is reliable, what data is not reliable, digging, that just doesn't work anymore. We have a limited amount of people, there's a limited time. So what you want is a system that tells you, that reports to you what status is, what the yields are, and then helps you to dig down into that mountain of data very effectively. So if you try to do it in a manual way, there's no longer time for that. I think that's one of the main reasons why we work with the tool, and that's why my engineers use the tool.
Great. Thank you. Jimmy, would you like to take a shot at this question?
Yeah. In the past, we actually depends very much on subcon to provide the data to us. And in terms of that, if there's some delays or latency of getting that piece of data, even that, in the form of SDDF, we need to spend effort to develop scripts in order to make the comparison in terms of hardware and program. And with the presence of OptimalPlus and all its features like the bin analysis, the filling test, we are able to have a standard data format in order to make this comparison. And as what Nico has mentioned, I mean, resources are also key for us. We have only a few engineers. So we need to have fast response time in order to do the analysis. And more important, to convert this analysis into actionable data so that we can have a quick fix to our outside house and subcon house. So that motivates us to engage OptimalPlus in getting this piece of hardware, software to assist us.
Jim.
Yeah, as the industry evolving and as also, our company growing from small company to a bigger company, each stage we start adopting the different tools and do the data storage in different locations. It's gradually become a problem because now we want everything get linked, we can correlate. So we are really happy, that now we are marching towards a single unified resource for the data storage, for the data mining, and then also can come out with the solutions, to find the root cause and solutions. One more thing, I think it's good to have this is all the company here, especially Fabless, also even IDM. I don't know, it's economical to have each company to develop their own systems. This is almost like a foundry business model, right? So OT is doing the R&D and develop the system, and we share the low cost on the tools, right? So we don't have to hire so many people. That's how I think.
I think, Jim, you point out a very good point, which kind of leads to my next question. So I'm going to start from you, because I think the deployment of OT has changed your work within your organization. But what about the relationship that your own company also with your suppliers, OSAT and foundry suppliers?
Definitely, I'm hoping, I mentioned to Danny a long time ago, I said, how can we convince the OSAT to take ownership on those tools, right? So this is part of the service. So I still hoping that someday we can convince them, don't spend so much money on developing something, and everyone can use it, everyone can share. So that's my point.
Okay, Rick, would you like to take a shot at that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely made us much more effective at dealing with OSATs. At AMD, we set up 5 value streams to adopt OT and look for ways to really leverage to leverage its capability from product engineering is one, test, supply chain procurement, and manufacturing. And so each of these folks are really digging into the data and being able to use the data in a way that has an impact across our organization, but especially with our manufacturing partners. So it's much more effective to try to get something from those that are trying to get extra attention or get attention on fixing a problem when you've got solid, indisputable data.
Yes.
And that's what OT is really good for us.
Okay, thank you.
So for Broadcom, wise, in the past we have outsourced business and we need to go through the foundry interact with the OSAT house. But with the presence of OptimalPlus, the proxy and the data come directly from the OSAT. From there, we have a better fix and faster fix in terms of solution. In fact, the cross rules that actually came out from OT allow us to compare performance between OSAT to OSAT in terms of the hardware they are concerned with, and they are very prone in resolving problems together with us. And I think these are the benefits that we are getting from OT, and it involves the dialogues and communication between different OSAT house and different foundries.
I absolutely think that there is a reluctance at OSATs for tools like these because obviously it's easier for us to see what's happening at those OSATs. So there is a fear that we will micromanage them. There's maybe a fear that we will challenge them in everything that we do. I think we, on our side, as customers, should realize that, right? So we are maybe partially the reason why they are reluctant. But I think if we show that we use the tools in a constructive way, and that we help them also to address issues that they might have and not even know, acceptance will not be that difficult.
Thank you. Thank you for the great answer. I think going forward, my next question will be, do you see, from your perspective, what capability do you see the most valuable from your deployment of OT, and what would you like to see more from them in the future? Go from you.
I think what was remarked already this morning, the most valuable thing for us is getting quickly the report, getting quickly information that shows me when I come in the office in the morning what happened last night. We have few engineers. We need to look at how can we use them as effectively, as efficiently as possible. So for me, everything started with reviewing production results, yields, outputs, maybe excursions if there were. That's where everything started. I think it is also very helpful with OT that they are driving some new test methods or some new technologies, and they are driving standardization. If you look to things like D-pad, what was mentioned this morning, typically, if there was no OT, every supplier would have done that in a different way. They would have different algorithms, different infrastructures, and then you need to spend all your engineers to figure out what the differences are and how you can accommodate that. Now, you have an algorithm, you develop your recipe, and you roll that out to everybody in the same way at the same time. So it makes your engineers just much more effective.
Okay, thank you. Jimmy?
I think I'm most impressed in terms of the quality rules that actually came out from OT. With the presence of OT, especially in terms of probe mark rules, the PRR and OTP rules that we actually create using OT rules, it allows us to take control of them. We are able to see, are they doing the right thing? But with the analysis that we have gotten from the OT portal, we are able to drill down, work closely to cooperate, and advise the subcon. And we build a knowledge database with them. Oh, these are the common problems that we have. I think that OT has added value to us.
Sound like you're a very happy customer. And I know Jimmy for a while,
I'm
so
not very,
you seem very happy speaking about this.
I'm a very demanding customer.
Okay, same question to Rick.
So for us, having reliable, near real-time data has been definitely the most value we've gotten out of it. The fact that it's aggregated and reported in a way that we can have an impact. We're recent adopters of OT, so some of the things that we've accomplished in the short period we've been using it, to me was somewhat of a surprise, because the data was so clear that we could address issues of efficiency with our manufacturing partners, in a way that I just never imagined possible with the massive amounts of data I had in the past. So really driving significant improvements in throughput was one of the key things we've been able to accomplish early on.
Okay, Jim.
Okay. So, for us, that we are really happy, for the speed, the system can do, really fast, compared with all the tools that we have so far. And the other thing is that, they give us a very deep, we can set up the very detailed automatic reports. So all being shared with, we have engineering team not only in Taiwan, Semiconductor. Now we have the Texas, in England, so we have it's around the world. So everyone shares the reports, the same information. I think it's very useful.
I think we're moving right along quite well. I'm going to probably open up to the Q&A pretty soon to the audience. I wanted to give a heads up for everybody to prepare first. Oh, Vincent. Yes, can someone pass the microphone to Vincent from MXIC?
I have questions about the data quality. Did you guys just pick up the data from the testing house directly, or you need to create or put some effort in there to make those data and put it into the OT system to do the analysis? Can you guys comment on that? Since you guys have probably started for a couple of years already.
Actually, for data from OT, the OTDF actually is automatically uploaded from the tester itself to the OT server and back to the corporate and load it into the portals.
So it look like it's a testing program, you wrote it. I put it on the system generated data automatically. How about the data from the system itself? Did you guys spend effort, try to get in there to set up? Because we are talking about data quality. Data quality look like they are already existing on the testing program. The data come from testing program. All kind of data, you can collect it, right? But how about did you ever spend the effort to set up the data from the testing house equipment?
So you talk, for instance, about MES data from the testing houses?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's done as part of the tester integration that is done by Optimal Test. So they did that integration. It's also the most efficient thing, right? Because it doesn't matter whether a certain tester is running for Broadcom or AMD or NVIDIA or for Qualcomm. The OSAT makes that data available to Optimal Test, and then that's combined with the test data and being sent to us.
Chris, I'm sorry, did we answer your question, Vincent? Or is there any panelists like to answer Vincent's question as well? No? Okay. Chris?
Yeah, we spoke a lot this morning about the adoption of Optimal Test at fabless, IDMs, or at OSAT, and you mentioned that you would like to see it as something standard that the OSATs have as a feature. But definitely the implementation of OT is also very much tied to the equipment itself, so the test equipment. So a question I would like to throw to the panel is, how do you see the role of the ATE vendors in such an environment? And do you think that this could become eventually an option or something that comes with the equipment itself to be OT capable?
Great question. We start from Rick.
So we have both our own manufacturing sites and use OSATs. We use several different platforms. So the way I look at it is OT plays this role of integrating across many different suppliers, many different test vendors, and really will work with any, including a somewhat obsolete tester or not obsolete, an old near end of life tester that we're using now. So I tend to think that this is probably best done by a third party, not the test vendors, to do this integration and make sure it works across all platforms.
Okay, great. Jim, would you like to take it?
Yeah, I think it's it's better for OT to take to be in charge, to standardize everything, the different platform, for our users, we just want to become transparent to us. I think it's better, and they know how to make a standard format better than anyone else.
So I think my next question could be my final question is, from your perspective, what do you see the most benefit in Taiwan manufacturing community by adopting OT's solution? I think this is, Taiwan has the largest amount of OSATs, and this is one of our strengths. And also in the foundry business. So this is something that I think, a lot of people have a question on this. So I'd like to ask Nico to answer that.
Well, I think for us, it would be very good news if Taiwanese OSATs would be taking more ownership and would be driving that. I think it would help them to differentiate from other OSATs in other regions. It's in a certain sense to me a little bit unnatural that we as end customers drive this at the OSATs. I think the biggest challenge that probably Optimal Test had to introduce a tool like OT is the change in mindset that comes with it. And I hope that this is gradually happening. And I would hope that OSATs take more ownership.
Okay, thank you.
I think the challenge for us is a lot of OSAT tends to have their own development team in terms of getting these data. To fabless, I think the mindset is very clear. We want a standardized platform, a standardized measurements of performance, OEE, U, across all the subcon. we do not want to have different format to compare. And without the pet feature from optimal test, I think every subcon will run their own pet features, pet rules. And with the presence of parametric rules, in fact, some of my engineers has been setting their own rules to monitor. We get triggered immediately when we get the alert. Rather than making those phone calls, checking out things, I think that's really a waste of time with limited resources.
Thank you, Jimmy. Very good point. Rick.
So from my experience, we've definitely uncovered areas of inefficiencies with the OSAT that if they were using this, they would probably be much more competitive. So I think in order to maintain competitiveness, in Taiwan OSAT industry, this is definitely something that needs to be done. But I guess if I look at it from the point of view of Taiwan, I think it could probably have a huge impact on IDM companies that sustain products from Taiwan. I look at it from the point of view of if you looked at the way we managed yield in the past, you would have multi-decade experts that managed yield and made really good decisions based on yield. And I think what OT brings to the table is bringing a capability to a broader base of engineers to be able to make really intelligent decisions in terms of how they manage products. So I look at the fabless companies in Taiwan being able to benefit from this, I think substantially, because it really brings this compute base, this way of looking at data to a larger number of people, making it more effective.
Thank you. I can tell Rick has passion for the subject. Jim.
So, of course, I like to see, OSAT adopted OT also. One good reason is that now both all companies, all the users and OSATs look at the same data, using the same system, same language. It's much easier to communicate, and we won't have to arguing something, has a difference on the way to handle things, the different data sets. So I think it will be making our engineering life easier.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Now I'd like to open the panel to the audience. Yes, Shalom, please.
CTO from Ardentech. And I know all of you are already using Optimal Tester for quite a while, 1 year or 2 years. And my question is, does the OT security meet your requirement, or you like to see OT can do more?
I think OT, in terms of, I think in some of the subcon house, they do have installation for different fabless house. I think OT has a very secure system called the security managers that actually clearly manage the segregation of data for different OSAT. And in fact, from our side, we also inform the OSAT to work with them hand in hand in order to have different security in terms of lock-on. And I don't think that there will be any security issue in terms of the data being transported to my company and the rest of them. And in fact, the security manager has done a very good job in segregating that.
Okay. Nico.
And if I may add to that, I would say optimal test is not sending us more data than we got before, right? I mean, if you're not using OT, you're probably getting STDF and you're getting summaries. And your OSAT usually already will have a gating system that makes sure that your data is not being sent to another customer of the OSAT. So it's not that we get more data. I would say it's better structured, it's of better quality, but it's not more. So if you are not afraid today, I don't think you should be afraid if you use OT.
Good point.
I could completely agree, is that you already have the STDF, or in our case, KDF files that are already there. I don't see any increase in security. In fact, the data stream for OT is probably even more secure.
Good. Jim, echo the same feedback? Okay. Did we address your question, Shalom? Okay, thank you for the question. Thank you for your time, and I will pass the stage back to Remy.